One of the things that's really helped me when it comes to being more confident about making art and actually looking at other people's artwork as well has been learning the fundamental basics of art being a language and understanding the formal elements, which sound really scary, but they're not. Those elements that make up art that we can all read. And when I first started out years ago making art, I remember doing all types of different courses: textiles, collage, drawing, life drawing, painting, sculpting. Like, I did so many different courses. And that was great because it was giving me the techniques and I was learning how to use different materials. But what was really groundbreaking was finally learning the principles behind how to use these materials. And it doesn't matter what type of material you use, but there are fundamental elements that can be applied to any kind of art making, even music. Um, and so I'm really excited because a amazing artist called Nicholas Wilton, who some of you will know, we've had Nicholas Wilton in as a guest before. He's running an amazing art workshop. It's completely free. It does run into his bigger program, but you'll get so much from the week's training. I remember doing this a few years ago for the very first time, and even having been through art school and worked in a design team and all the experience that I've had, it really helped me just clarify, like, oh wow, a lot of it I knew, but there was some definite things that I learned from his workshop that I hadn't come across before. And also, I think the bits that I did know already, it was so amazing just to get a recap on, yeah, these are the things that we should be looking at when we're creating. And they even apply to writing a book. And so Nicholas Wilton's going to take you through three really, really powerful elements in the art making process. And one of them is differences. And he's going to show you how you can transform your art using differences. And for me, since I've done his workshops years ago, I come back to this time and time again. I've been looking at differences when I'm writing chapters. You know, if you I'm writing a book, you look at the chapter lengths and make sure that longer chapters are next to shorter sentences. Sorry, longer sentences are next to shorter sentences, and it's that kind of like differences in things that make things interesting. And it's definitely impacted my art too. So when I'm making art, if something's not working or it feels a bit flat, I go back to the differences. If I want to emphasize something in my art making, I will create a difference. So, you know, like a smooth part next to a really textured part will make that smooth part appear even more smoother. If you want to emphasize something being really large, you put it next to something really tiny. Like these differences, it's really important. And Nicholas can articulate this much better than I can. So I really, really urge you to take part in the workshop because it's such a wonderful, wonderful recap on how you can actually make some small tweaks to your art that make it much more powerful. Creating differences, you know, contrast and you know, it can just change an artwork completely. And he will show you throughout this workshop how to use technology, how to use your own eye, and help you use this principle in your own art making in terms of artworks that already exist or future artworks. He also goes through value. So, you know, the values that are present in your artwork and how you can use values to increase the kind of conversation for your art. It's all about how to make art more powerful, and it's definitely related to psychology and what we're drawn to as a human being. And also he goes through color, and I remember going through the color um, workshop that he delivers, and I thought I knew a lot about color coming from a design team. I've had to get my head underneath like these dark covers to do. I've had to do like tonal color tests to make sure that my eyes can see colors when I'm signing off products and things like that. So I thought I knew quite a lot about color. um, And so he also shared a lot of insight around mixing and getting harmony. And so it's a really, really amazing workshop. And it's just really brought me back to this moment and how it doesn't matter what material we use, whether it's the stone, clay, sculpting, painting, collaging, these principles apply. And what I love about them too is we can use them in relation to our own artwork when we're making, but we can also use them to read other people's artwork. And this is what I really find grows your confidence. So if you go to a gallery or you actually see somebody's artwork and you want to replicate it, or there's a part of it that you like, knowing these principles helps you to do that. It helps you to understand what you're actually seeing in front of you, and understanding what part of that artwork you like and why you like it and why does it stand out to you. And understanding these elements, when you go to a gallery, you can actually start to look for the differences in the work that you're seeing, how it's balanced, where are things sitting, what's going on with the tonal values. And that one is really super, because I know for a long time, for me, I was creating paintings over and over and over again. And like I say, it doesn't matter sometimes how many times you create something. If you don't know these basics, you can just keep making the same mistakes over and over again. And for me, it was I kept creating paintings, and they all were the same tonal value, even though they were completely different colors. So I was picking like different palettes, like oranges and blues and um, yellows, and creating these paintings. And I just couldn't put my finger on it. I just felt like, oh, they just don't feel right. And I'd look at other people's paintings and think, they just look more professional. Mine just looks really intense and quite flat, and I could never understand why. Um, and it wasn't until I learned more and more about the fundamental basics of these elements that I realized it's my tonal values. They're all the same tone. So sometimes you're using all these different colors and you don't actually realize, you think that you're being quite dynamic by using these colors, but if they're all the same tone, you don't get that depth. And so changing that in your artwork, so making something that has a different value to, so you could be using those two yellows, but they've both got different values. All of a sudden it changes the work, and it's incredible. And like I say, you can just change a couple of elements in your art making and your art can just go boom, really powerful, really striking. And so, yeah, I love this workshop. It starts on the 4th of March. There's a link here to sign up. It's over 3 workshops, and there'll be loads of people taking part in this too. And so if you haven't come across it before, I urge you to. If you have taken part in it, let's do it again. Let's recap together. I'll do a podcast episode as we're going through this workshop together to kind of bring together the highlights and things like that as we go through it. So yeah, if you want to join in and go back over these elements, then I'd love you to join us. Let me know in the comments below if you've taken part in the workshop before, if this is all completely new to you, and I hope to see you there. Take care. Bye bye.